This is going to be a pretty straight to the point video. I've had my Kobo Libra Colour for a week now. I feel like we know each other well enough for me to tell you whether I'm happy with it. It's important for me to mention that I actually made the jump from a Kindle Paperwhite Signature to the Kobo Libra Colour. Ever since I got my first e-reader back in 2018, I always really wanted colour. And I know it's pretty trivial, and I actually own a tablet. And also I've got one of those laptops that folds into a tablet, so I can get my colour ebooks on either of those things. But there was always something about the fact that my Kindle was in black and white that just irritated me a little bit. So when I heard that there was a new colour e-reader out, I thought I'll see how it goes in case it's absolutely terrible. I watched a few videos about it, watched the trailer, went on the website, sort of glanced at it here and there, and then I did try and look at it in a shop. In London, it seems to be quite hard to actually get your hands on Kobo stuff on the high street. It wasn't very easy for me to look at it in person. So after like 6 years with Amazon, I did start to feel a bit trapped with them. I don't want to get too political or too boring. I use Amazon for a lot of things, but when it came to ebooks, I felt like they had me in a chokehold. But I do feel like the choice of shops to buy ebooks from with Amazon is very limited, as they will only let you buy things from them. There are ways around it, which are things that I managed to do myself, but it becomes a bit finicky and over complex for something that should be quite straightforward. You know, back in the day when you had your MP3 player that was a pen, you just stuck it in the computer, drag some songs on. The glory days. That's what I miss. My favourite Kindle of all time was actually the Kindle Oasis. I've had all the other ones. I've had the standard Kindle, Kindle Paperwhite, Kindle Scribe, and then more recently this Kindle Paperwhite Signature Edition, which I was very happy with, but then I saw colour. Now before I get into this, I should explain that I actually don't have the Kobo pen that you can get for the Libra Colour because it is sold separately, which I find a bit annoying. I wish they'd do a package deal. I would have got that. And every shop I looked at, it was sold out and would be delivered in July. And again, in the high streets, for some reason, you cannot get any of the Kobo stuff in the high street shops, and then you can get them at like Argos here in the UK, but you can't buy the pen. I did have some concerns doing the switch, so I was worried that I'd lose all of my library because I'd had books that I brought in the last 6 years all on the Kindle store. Device functionality with the Kindle is pretty straightforward. I was used to that, so I didn't want to jump to something else and feel completely out of my depth. I'm a frequent visitor to the Daily Deals store on Amazon because of all the little 99p bargains, and I was worried that I was going to miss out on that if I gave that up. My e-reader goes with me everywhere. I mean, like everywhere. I read on breaks, when I've got appointments, things like that, on the bus, just like all the time, in bed. So again, it was like, if I get an e-reader, a new one, and I don't like it as much as the old one, will I still be able to do those things? I loved how clear the screen was on my Kindle Paperwhite Signature. And the battery power on my Kindle was just insane. Like, it would last me weeks and weeks and weeks. Also, just the portability of it is just crazy. Like, you can just take it anywhere. It used to fit in my pocket, which was just amazing to me. Especially in winter, I'd have a big winter coat on and literally have it in my chest pocket. So now I've covered my concerns, I think the easiest way for me to explain why I love it is to actually just tell you why none of those things really were an issue for me. So my Kindle library was transferred onto the Kobo using Calibre, which I'd never heard of, and it was so straightforward to do it. In addition to having my Kindle library on there, I've now also got access to the UK library that I'm a member of, and the amount of ebooks on there, I actually couldn't believe it. I've already got a list of library books that are sort of, you can book them in to take them out. So you join a virtual queue and then it tells you when they're ready. I love the functionality of the Kobo. It feels so straightforward and like intuitive. I love the level of detail on the text options, how easy it is to navigate the store, but also that the store isn't thrown in your face all the time. So like when you go on it, it's encouraging to read books you already own and maybe check out a book here that you might like, but it's not as invasive as the Amazon Kindle, which is like, give me money, give me money, give me money all the time. I was worried about missing out on the Amazon store, but then a lot of the books that are on sale on the Amazon store also go on sale on the Kobo store. So if you see one that you like, search for it on there and it might be on sale there too. And the 2 times I've had to do that, it actually was true. It hasn't really affected my heavy e-reader use at all because I actually love this new device and I've taken it everywhere with me. I'm a student nurse, so it's come with me on placement. I read a lot in the bath. I read in bed. I read out in the parks and things in London, so it's pretty hectic and busy, and it's endured it all, and it's very sturdy. The screen is so clear, it looks amazing, I love it. Nice and easy on my eyes, but it's still got the warm light, just like my Paperwhite had, which I was worried I'd lose that, but I haven't. And because I got this nifty little Kobo case, the portability again just feels amazing. It's got the little stand so I can stand it up, and it feels really premium. It's probably the most I've ever spent on a case, but it feels worth it because it's also very lightweight, so it doesn't impact taking the Kobo around with me. I also live with Crohn's disease, so on the days when I'm not feeling well, e-reader is just everything to me. And I have infusions, so I had to go for an infusion recently, and I was there for 2 hours, so to be able to flip out the little colour Kobo was just incredible. I love that you can really change up how you use it, so you can change what different parts of the screen do when you touch them. You can change how the text looks, you can change the line spacing, you can change the things that are displayed on the page, so the stats, like the reading stats, it's not just numbers and percentages. You can have the little bar, which I've changed it to, so it's very minimalist. The reading statistics that you can get are way beyond what you can get on the Kindle. I find it really interesting to see like my average hours spent with a book, and obviously having buttons again is just so Kindle Oasis, and I just adore it. I don't know what it is about clicking the buttons, but it just feels like more of a workout. In terms of access to books on the store, there's nothing that I've gone to look for yet that I've not been able to find on the actual Kobo store, but that probably just says more about me as a reader than anything. So it's not really an issue I've had to face yet. If it does come up, I guess maybe there'll be another video where I explain what I did to get around that. There are some things that I don't like, but I don't think they're major. So I would say the separate stylus, I've already mentioned that. I think if you're not going to give the stylus with the device, maybe even just explain what other styluses might work with it so that I can get one, mainly because they're never in stock with Kobo, so it's just frustrating. The screen brightness, I think probably because I'm used to like OLED screens, so like my tablet, laptop and phone all have an OLED screen, so when you tell me it's going to be colour, I expect like vivid brightness, and whilst I do love the colour, it looks great, it's not as bright as I was expecting, so you do have to have the backlight on quite a lot, which then affects the battery, so it doesn't feel like it's lasting as long as it does with my Paperwhite. I absolutely love the colour. I just think, even though it is a bit of a little gimmick, it brings me so much joy to just go on my library and all of the covers have colour. I know it's such a simple thing, but if it is something that bothers you, like it did me with my Kindle, when everything's black and white, it used to just make me feel a bit bleak. It makes all the difference. So I think the trade-in was worth it literally for that alone. And I do miss, and this is a just silly little side note because obviously it's not Kindle, so it's not going to have it, the highlights, the sort of PDF that Kindle will put together, sort of telling you your favourite quotes. I really used to love looking at those because it was a nice refresher, and as far as I can tell on the Kobo, it doesn't have that feature. If it does and I've missed it, then please let me know. But aside from that, I have no regrets going from Kindle to Kobo, and if you're on the fence about that, then I would say just go for it. If the reason you want to swap is because you want the colour features, then I would just say absolutely go for it, because I'm very happy with my Kobo. Can't see me going back anytime soon unless Kindle put out the most incredible colour device ever in the next few months. But even then, I just think it's nice to not have them around my neck every day telling me to buy a 99p book.